All right, well, welcome to the third hole in our series of what I've learned about life as we play a round of disc golf. For this third hole, the one I want to bring up is the idea of external validation and external affirmation. What I've learned about myself, what I've learned from so many people is this deep need that we have. Now, you might call it being a people pleaser, you might call it different things. I think it all looks different for everybody, but at the end of the day, it's not even about pleasing other people. It's about getting validation and affirmation from other people. And I've learned that I need that. I've learned that I need it more than probably most people and probably more than I really want to. And for most of my life, I was working in the corporate Fortune 500 world. I was a successful actuary, highly decorated. I was getting all that affirmation all the time, all that validation all the time. And I didn't think I really needed it. And then I moved and I was in the church world, crushing it there. And I got all kinds of external validation and affirmation. And then through a series of events, which you'll learn about if you follow me, I ended up leaving the corporate world in 2018 and working for myself. Now, I had confidence that I'd be able to do it. I had a great network of people. But what I found is that I did not have that same level of external validation and affirmation that I had in the corporate world. And so I started looking for that from other people. And I started looking to my wife for more of that. And she's always been affirming, always been validating in terms of my being a husband and a father, and all of that was great. But now I needed more than that. And I started unintentionally seeking her validation about my work, asking her more about my work, getting her perspectives. And sometimes they wouldn't align with what I was doing, and then I felt dumb and I felt like I was doing the wrong thing, and I felt like she wasn't validating or affirming me, and that's what I needed from her. And it created sort of chaos in our relationship simply because I had this need for validation that she couldn't fill. She wasn't an entrepreneur. She didn't know the right thing to do with small business coaching or consulting or executive coaching or speaking or writing. She tried her best. She explained what she would do. She was very supportive, but she wasn't validating and affirming in the way that I needed. And I realized how much I missed that in my world. And I started figuring out, how can I get that? Either, how can I not need that? That's priority one, right? If I can figure out a way not to need that, and everybody will just tell you, hey, validation comes from inside, affirmation comes from inside. And that's great if you are wired that way or if you can figure out that way. And for those of you who have it, great. You're never going to understand what it's like to have this deep need to be validated by other people. But for those of you who understand this, you feel it, right? You feel it. You know what that's like. And maybe you hate that about yourself. Maybe you figured out how to cope with it. Maybe you've gotten the right peeps in your Jeep to be able to validate you, but you know the pain that comes from not feeling validated, from not feeling affirmed, from working your ass off trying to do the best you can and not feeling like anybody cares or appreciates it, even though logically you know they do. That's how it feels, and that's terrible, and I learned that about myself. So now I'm trying to figure out, what do I do with that? What do I do with that need? And as you watch future videos, if you track me, if you start connecting with me, you're going to hear more and more about some of the things that I'm doing. I think even later in this series, I'm going to talk a little bit about severance, the trick that I'm using right now for that external validation. So I'll share that later. But the reason I thought about that with this hole, particularly the third hole in this course that I'm playing in Western Wisconsin that I'm not revealing to anybody, unless you ask, then I'll tell you, is because there's an opening shot here that when I play with my buddy Jeff, I'm like, is this the right thing to do? And even then, that external validation and affirmation is creeping in. Inside, I know it's the best shot for me in my game, but I still want somebody to say, yeah, that's the right play. And he doesn't. He takes a different line. And so I'll explain that a little bit and why I thought about that on this hole. So this is the third hole, and it is a short, well, it's 221 feet. It's not super short, but it's a par 3. But here's the deal. Up over that crest of the hill, you can't really see it, but there's a log laying in front, and then the basket's on the other side. So I'm not really trying to go for the shot. I'm just trying to get it in the middle of the fairways to set up my second shot. But here's the deal. Here's the tee box right here. You can kind of see the end of this cement tee pad. Comes out here, and I want to throw it down the middle. Well, there's trees right in the middle. So kind of the standard right-handed, backhanded shot is to go down this line right here, to take that line and to cut it through those trees and kind of into the middle. Another option is to kind of go through this gap right here and sort of go a little left to right with it if you can shape the disc. What I think my best shot is, and it's actually worked for me, is to go to the outside of this tree right here, this first tree. So in other words, try to reach out, kind of go to this pad and kind of get to the corner of the pad, and then reach out and kind of go left to right around this first tree, because then it's wide open to the fairway after that. So this is the shot where I need external validation, or I just need to trust myself. So that's why I thought of that for this hole. So let's give it a rip. Let's see. We're going to try to go around that tree and see if we can place it in the middle of the fairway. Yeah. There we go. A little too far left. A little further left than I wanted, but that was the idea. Trust the instinct. Trust the instinct. What do you want to do? Not what other people want. Validate yourself. There it is. So we are getting a little bit sweatier as we go. We're only on hole 3, but all the stopping and recording is probably part of it. But we're still inside the trees. When we get to hole 5, we actually get out into the sunlight, and then I'm really going to be sweating. But it's like 90 degrees and humid here, so that's my excuse. But let's see where this thing ended up. I think it was a little bit further left than we wanted, but let's check it out. All right, so we're making our way up the fairway. You can see that log I was talking about in the baskets on the other side of that, back about 40, 50 feet. And I usually want to land right in here so I can have a nice easy shot. But it looks like we tailed a little bit to the left side, but we met our first objective, which was to get around that tree. So now what I've got to do is try to take that and just kind of swing it around those trees, get it over the laying down tree that's in the middle. And if I make it over that, it should slide up there close enough to save my par 3. All right. Sweet. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So that's what we're looking for there. A nice little curve in. It should be pretty much parked. Now, I guess I'm showing this to you so you can give me external validation. I'm just kidding. But I think you guys know I'm a little further away than I wanted, but still pretty much a gimme putt. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Let me know if that resonates with you, if this need for external validation is so strong that it actually kind of gets in the way of your relationships even, which it does for me sometimes. So let me pick this up. Let me try to put this in. We'll stand behind it as per the rules. And then we should just be able to flip this up and in and call it good. So that's it for hole 3. We're going to go on hole 4. If you like this sort of approach, let me know. If you don't, let me know.